Hi, I'm Shelby Frazier, and I'm going to be making a devil's food cake. Everyone loves cake, but I have a little twist to the everyday boring cake. When you are ready for something rich, dark, decadent, and delicious, bake a devil's food cake. Topped off with some delicious chocolate icing. It is exactly what you need. This cake is better than any other cake because it is sweet and moist in each bite. For this cake, all you need to do is gather the scrumptious ingredients, bake the fluffy cake, and top it off with delicious icing. First, you need to gather your ingredients. 1 box of Devil's Food Betty Crocker cake, a tube of chocolate-rich icing, preferably Betty Crocker's, 3 eggs, doesn't really matter what size, a whisk, a mixing bowl, 1 1/4 cup of water, 1/2 cup of vegetable oil, and 1 greased pan. Next, you need to mix the cake mix. Oh, oops. Cake mix. The vegetable oil, the water, and the 3 eggs. 1, 2, 3. Then you gently whisk it. You can hear it on Canvas where easier, but it's unfortunately box. I prefer Canvas, but when you hit it, you know that pretty every bit done. What you're gonna do is the next thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna preheat the oven to 350, which our oven is already set to that, and then you press start, and you wait for however long it preheats, and then when it dings, you put it in. The next thing you do is you pour the batter into the greased pan, and you make sure that you get every drop out of the bowl. You can use a spoon, a fork, or whatever you want to get out of it, but this usually works better, the spatula. And you want to make sure that you get everything so you don't leave any scrumptious bite out of here. And in the mixing earlier, I forgot to add the thyme, which you do usually mix for about 2 to 3 minutes. Sorry about that, I didn't mean that. So, after you get practically everything out of the bowl, you make sure that it's kind of about even or so across, so you don't have one side that gets uncooked or a little too cooked. Okay, so now when you're ready to bake, you make sure that you put this cake. It doesn't matter if you put it in the bottom rack or the top rack, but you need to have it in the center of the oven so it bakes thoroughly. If not, then you will not get a good cake. So now we have to bake for 23 to 28 minutes or until you can insert a toothpick into the center of it and it comes out clean. So now for the kitchen timer, let's put it to about 28 minutes so we know that it's cooked, or well, 29. Then you hit on. Now let's wait for 29 minutes and then our cake will be done. Now you can take it out. Well, that's if it's done. Okay. Now we need to open it and see if we can insert a toothpick into the center of it without having any residue of the cake mix. Come on. Just a couple more minutes and then it should be done. Be careful not to burn yourself. About 5 more minutes or so. There we go. One, two, three. Okay, now we're gonna check it it again to make sure it is fully cooked. Hopefully it is. Okay, let's see. I would say yes, it is cooked. So now, let me get the racks out. I forgot about those. I need a cake rack. I'm gonna set it right here for right now, and we are gonna get the cake out. Oh, that look delicious right now. Okay, now I am going to turn off the kitchen timer, turn off the oven and the oven light. It's still going to be hot, so be careful to stay away from the heat. Okay, so now we need to wait about 30-40 minutes for it to cool off before we ice the cake. And when we ice the cake, I will show you how to do it. So the last and most important thing is to ice the cake. A butter knife usually works best to spread the icing. So you want to get a thick layer across the cake. Well, let's do this. The cake. But you want to make sure it's even so that you don't get too much icing on it, unless you really like sweet. Because this icing sometimes can be really sweet. I'm just doing this so that it could look kind of cool. Oops. There we go. Oh, I'm just gotta get this piece over here. Now, after you get the icing done, you can cut a piece out and you can eat the moist and delicious bite. When you are craving something rich, dark, and gorgeous, you need to have a Betty Crocker's Devil's Food cake. It's not just a boring cake, it has a twist to it, which makes it delicious. No other recipe will compare. Just stir the ingredients, bake, and end it off with the top of sweet chocolate icing. Once you try my simple but rich cake with the twist, no other cake will satisfy your sweet tooth.